As previously advised, we are going to have Anne read a personal statement that she's prepared, and we're then going to open it up to a few select questions. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Anne to read her statement.
Thank
Anne,
you.
do you want to, can you pull you up a little bit? Yeah, that's great.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you all. As Tom and Jordan said, I'll be brief. This is very hard for me, but I wanted to share some thoughts as I've had a lot of time to think about what happened, the meaning of family and friends, as well as total strangers. Please know how deeply grateful our family is to everyone who helped us in that sheer moment of terror when our walk in the park turned into a nightmare. To the bystanders, first responders, medical staff, doctors, nurses, aides, to our family, friends, and my coworkers at Tory Burch. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Please understand that I'll never forget what it was like to fear for our 3 boys' safety and well-being. I'm lucky to be alive. We are so fortunate that no decayed tree, no injury, even ones that may never heal, can ever break the bond of our family. We worry about our boys and are watching them closely. I'm so grateful that they did not suffer more harm. They bring light into our darkest days. Kurt has been amazing, and together, working with Tom and Jordan, we are determined to make sure that what happened to us will never happen to anyone else again. Thank you.
Okay, a few questions, if you like.
And in what ways has your life changed as a person, as a mother, since this incident?
Since August 15th, 2017, our lives are forever altered. You know, we had a terrifying thing happen. I work every day to, you know, stay positive for my boys and my husband, and you know, I really am so lucky to have great family and friends around and have such an unbelievable support system. I've had to rely on people in ways that I never ever thought that I would have to. I used to doing things myself, and I can't do a lot of things myself now. And you know, I'm just trying to make sure that my boys are, you know, as normal as possible. But it's a lot of change for us.
Go ahead. We'd like to do this in a disciplined way, and we appreciate it. Go ahead.
If it's not too much, can you just walk us through? We've all wanted to hear from you. So this happened. Can you just walk us through what happened that day?
So we had just arrived back in town from a great family vacation. We were overjoyed. We had a newborn son who was just 5 weeks old. And I got my boys ready in our apartment. I put the 2 older ones in the stroller, was wearing the 3rd, and it was, you know, a beautiful sunny day. It was early morning, and I left, and that's all I remember. The next thing I know, I woke up in the ICU and was very confused as to why I was there. So I don't have any recollection of the park.
No recollection, even just walking in the park at all? Okay. Are you still able to go to work?
And that's not unusual if you have a concussion injury, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you able to?
I'm not allowed to work at this time. I'm hopeful to go back, and everyone at Tory Burch has been absolutely amazing, including Tory, the person, but at this time I'm not able to.
You also spoke about how you and your children were transported to the hospital in separate ambulances. Can you talk about the moment when you were reunited in the hospital, from whatever you can remember?
I actually didn't ever see them in the hospital because I was by myself in a separate floor, but you know, my husband and other family members were helping the boys. I was not able to do anything.
How are the boys doing? How are the boys doing now?
The boys are doing much better. Obviously, we're monitoring them very closely, but we're hopeful that it'll stay in a positive.
Can you talk about the injuries?
My injuries?
So, yeah, can you talk specifically about what injuries you have now?
Yes.
You still have the neck brace
Yep,
on?
I have the neck brace on. I am healing, and things are, you know, getting better for me, but it's been a very slow process. All fall, I was confined to being home. I have a C1 Jefferson fracture, is the most serious injury that I have, which is my top vertebrae was split into 4 pieces. So the neck brace is holding that kind of in place. I wear it when I'm outside now because I cannot slip or fall. I have other injuries to my other fractures. I had 10 staples in my head. I had a broken nose. But the most serious is the C1 Jefferson fracture.
And would you just, because I think this question begs a little bit more, which is, if you could explain how you were immobilized
Right.
for weeks and weeks and weeks,
Right.
and how you couldn't move, hold your children or anything.
Yep, so all fall, basically, I wasn't able to lift more than 2 pounds. So I couldn't lift my arms up. I, had to have someone dress me, help me do everything. I was in a hospital bed. I didn't really leave, I would say, our block because for fear, basically the doctors had told me if I tripped or anything weird happened, I was at risk of paralysis or death. So it was a really, very scary time. It still is. I still can't do, I still can't have any of those things happen. But it is I'm feeling a little better now.
I think you might want to hear just a bit from Kurt as to his observations of what Anne went through. If you would, Kurt,
Yeah.
briefly.
I mean, from my perspective, Anne has her actions that day, even though she has no memory of what actually happened, were nothing short of heroic. I mean, for me, in an instant, my entire family, everything that's important to me, could have been lost. And what she did to put her according to bystanders, put her body on the line and shield our kids from harm in a split second without instinct. The fact that she doesn't even remember that happening, it just speaks to her courage and bravery and instincts as a mother. And then from the date of the accident on, how strong she's been. We've been separated since she got discharged from the hospital, sleeping in separate rooms. She's been for weeks and weeks, was really in a hospital bed, immobilized, hasn't been able to nurse our kids. The newborn. She tried. This is just an example. She tried for a few weeks immediately after the accident to continue producing milk because she was hopeful that she could return to nursing our third boy, just as she did for the first two. Which isn't easy, but she was heavily medicated, so ultimately that failed. But she's just been brave and courageous since, and so it's just been inspiring for me.
Other questions? One or two more, please. We've covered injury and we've covered the accident, so one or two more. I'd appreciate it.
What do you both say to? We've all seen the video of passersby carrying the baby out of the incident here. What do you say today to all of those people who lended a hand in that moment?
We are so grateful. I mean, this is very emotional for me because, these people witnessed a terrible. They could have turned and gone the other way. Instead, they ran to harm to save our lives. I could have easily been paralyzed in that moment. It was all in how they got me out of the tree, I guess. But these people, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what they did. They saved my life, my children. When I think about the fact that they were alone by themselves in this situation, their mom is incapacitated. It's unbelievable. I cannot thank them enough, and I would hug any of them if I saw them. It's just unbelievable. We're forever grateful, forever.
And Anne has not been able to reconnect with
No.
some of those people because we don't even know who they all are, but she would be grateful and would hug
Yeah.
any one of them. And she means that. She looks actually to say thank you. We've had that discussion. Maybe one more question?
And are you mad?
I have to say positive for my kids, and I can't harbor ill will, but I'm the saddest that my children had to go through it. I just don't know what I could have done differently. It was a beautiful day. We were walking on the sidewalk. We weren't doing anything precarious. We weren't doing anything that we shouldn't have been doing. My husband and I went for months of going to these great doctor's appointments of maternity and your healthy baby to all of a sudden being in a neurosurgeon's office where they're you feel like you're watching a movie of your life. We never thought that anything like this would ever happen to us, and we just don't want anyone to have to go through it. Anyone. It's horrible, and it just should never have happened again. And so that's why we're very private people. We do not want to be thrusting our children or ourselves in the spotlight in any way. We have not wanted to, but we can't be quiet about it because it just was a horrible experience for us, and we just want to make sure that no one else has to go through it.
And with that, we're going to call it a day. But I would add one footnote to it, which is that what you see here, Jordan and I have gotten to know Kurt and Anne very well. And what you see is a brave couple who should not have to be in the place that they are or the space that they are. And it's something that was totally avoidable. Yes, Anne is lucky to be alive and lucky that the injuries maybe aren't worse, but there's a big but. She had very serious injuries and very serious life-threatening and paralysis-threatening injuries that she has in the future. She has been brave enough to come out in front of all of you because she, like we, believe that if people in New York and around the country know that this is the woman who gallantly saved her children and sustained this injury, that maybe that the park and the city will focus on maintaining the trees. We don't want to have another mom. Anne has told me that in her own words. I don't want anyone to have to go through this. So thanks for coming, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to let